High FM, your station of choice since 2008.
It seems that the government has decided that South Africa needs a new strategy or strategic petroleum stock policy. What does this even mean, and why now? Does this mean that we are vulnerable? Joining us is Rob Hutchinson, he's founder of Dear SA. Rob, a very, very good morning. Thank you for joining us. Hope you're well.
Well, thanks. I trust you are too, Howard.
I am indeed. So talk to me about this new policy.
Basically, it's a revision of our strategic stock holdings. Previously, South Africa is required to hold around about 21 days of fuel in reserve to counter the effects of a global shortage or supply shortage. Given the recent global events, what government wants to do is increase that to around 90 days of stock holding. Mm-hmm. That includes forcing manufacturers and refineries and wholesalers to hold at least a minimum of 14 days of additional stock, additional to what they would normally sell. So it's quite a major shift in policy, which might cause an increase in the fuel prices, fuel levies in particular, and the transport costs and so on.
So are we underprepared? Are we vulnerable in South Africa?
We definitely are. We're very vulnerable because of the closure of a few of our major refineries over the past couple of years. I think Engine used to produce and refine a lot of crude oil in South Africa, which has forced us to be a net importer of refined products, petroleum and diesel. Whereas we used to just bring the crude oil and then refine it here. So that has caused major problems over the years, especially in supply and stock resources. But then this is trying to give us a greater buffer so we can import stuff. The problem around the import is it takes up to 42 days for a tanker to arrive from the manufacturers, global manufacturers to South Africa, and then a further about 2 weeks to get distributed throughout the country. So that brings a major problem if there's a global shortage, and if we have such only 21 days of reserves here, obviously that's going to be a problem. So as we've seen recently, there was a problem with supply. And we saw people running for the pumps and trying to stockpile and so on. And then that created a shortage immediately. So the policy is trying to alleviate that problem, but it does have other problems associated with it.
Has this changed? You read about and you hear about the fact that we used to have strategic reserves. What is historically the position in South Africa?
So we did have reserves. We still do, in fact. And I think the big hoo-ha previously was the sale of our strategic reserves. That caused a big problem because the minister sold the reserves just before there was an actual fuel crisis. Which caused a major increase in the pump price. But that has to happen. We have to sell the reserves you have to rotate them every 90 to 120 days because fuel goes off. Refined fuel actually that goes bad, so you have to rotate them and sell it. But that again brings the question down to why aren't we just opening up and reigniting our local refinery capacity, because then it'll give us even greater buffer. So there are problems around that, and historically there have been major problems.
So the reason that we aren't going back to and opening the refineries?
That's unclear at this stage. It's a major question that is coming up in the public participation a lot of people are questioning why we don't reignite entities or and encourage local refinery from Engen and so on. I think Engen closed theirs down due to government policies as well. We also had a local refinery that closed down. And then we had the establishment of the new state-owned petrol company, which was the combination of the merger of Petro SA, iGas, and another state entity. That all contributed to the problem that we had there. I think Petro SA was running at a 20 billion rand.
I was just going to say, wasn't there a lot of talk
annum,
about the maladministration, corruption, all sorts of things, and they were almost intimating that this was bigger than we could possibly imagine with regard to state capture. Did anything come of that?
Nothing came of that whatsoever. I think Petro SA received a 22 billion rand bailout in the last budget, which is highly questionable because it was running at a loss even before then. It was a profitable entity many years ago, but all of a sudden there's fuel went missing and the sale of the reserves caused a major problem, and so on. So that's why the new state-owned petroleum company was established. It was established late last year. It is actually currently functioning. However, it still requires policy refinements in how to function. So we're a bit of a limbo in there. So this new policy of the stock holding is integrated into that.
That is where we leave it. Do you think just before I let you go, do you think that given what's gone on internationally, that South Africa, that the government is placing the right focus and emphasis on sustainability in this critical area?
I don't think so at all, Howard. I must be honest. I think this is a good attempt, but it bypasses the actual problem, and that is the question as to why our local refineries were closed down. Gwedi Mantashe, our Minister of Minerals and Petroleum Resources, has mentioned often that we should reignite our local production efforts and local refining efforts, but we've seen no further action on that case.
That is where we leave it. Thank you, as always, Rob Hutchinson. He is founder of Dear SA.